You are now listening to the New Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the New Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
All right, you are now tuned in to the New Old Heads, episode 189. I am Lonegevity. I think we're just going to split hosting duties this evening, just because I don't want to hold that to myself. But Major 7th is out today. Spoolz is currently on vacation, essentially. But we have Jay Moore in the place.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man?
Man, just another week. You know, I mean, I'm starting to see people outside, which I think is good. Hopefully, while all this protesting is going on and we're seeing all the changes happen, I just hope everybody's safe and healthy. So,
yeah,
I'm glad that the DJ school's back open. It's a little bit of normalcy. So, man, that's been it.
Yeah, that's I've had classes yesterday, classes today, so I'm like walking in and realizing that I haven't taught in over 2 months, and
yeah.
It's like forgetting how to do it almost, but it comes back. So, but yeah, how about you? What's up, Jay Diff? What's going on, man?
Salutations, what's going on? We are here.
We are out here in the streets.
Yes, indeed. But there has been a lot of people out. But I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of people out this whole time. To me, basically, just because I go to the store, and I hate Walmart of all places. Because, it's funny, Walmart has been open this whole time, right?
Right.
And there was really no social distancing guidelines other than just some signs, and you have to go in this door and out this door. But there were plenty of people in there every time I went in there. Yeah. But what's funny to me is since the whole curfew came into play, the Walmart started closing early.
Yeah.
And boarded up their windows and all that shit. Yeah. So it's like they didn't give a fuck about your health. All they give a fuck about is that profit margin and to make sure that these windows ain't getting busted out. So we gonna close early on account of that. But other than that, they could care less.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
it's interesting too now. I was talking, Nick and Metronome and I were talking on Monday about. There's one of two things that's probably going to happen now that all these protests all over the world have been going on, and with coronavirus, and either we're going to have a major outbreak or we're just going to say it's done.
Yeah, it's going to be one or two.
So,
my mom seems to think it's never going to go back to normal.
Yeah.
No.
That's what she's
going to find a way to patch it up and live with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'll say this, and I haven't shared this on social media. I've just kind of been watching of late, but outside of a few things that I've shared to certain people and stuff specifically, but I'm actually I have to say I'm for the first time in a very, very long time, maybe since I could ever remember, thinking for myself. I'm actually kind of proud at what America is doing right now. The citizens, standing up and, it's actually kind of cool to see. I will say that. But
as far as being on a united front to back something.
Yeah, it seems like we have enough momentum right now in the country to actually make change for the first time. I don't know if I've ever witnessed it, this type of movement ever happened
I don't think
before
so either
in my lifetime, and it's really cool to see, and it's kind of empowering in a way to see how much we as a people, our voice can actually initiate change. Now, how far it goes, I guess we'll see, right? But but that
is interesting though, because honestly, if everybody got on the same accord and it was organized with this same frame of thought or whatnot, we could really do some damage in a good way. You know what I'm saying? As far as really, really making the change that everybody's been wanting to see.
Yeah.
To make America right in the first place instead of make America great again.
No, I agree, and I think that's part of it. It's just that I'm seeing, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I'm actually really eager to kind of see where this heads towards, but you know, it's like so many more people seem to be more educated and more like ready to pounce on like just bullshit narratives all around, you know, like even the performative stuff that we're seeing by police officers and the hugging and even the whatever the Democrats were doing.
What the hell was that?
I don't know what that was.
I was a bit put off by that initially. I mean,
the Shanti cloths,
but
he
the
said
fact that it was when I did my due diligence, the kente cloth idea did come from the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Because at first I was like, I didn't know Amazon was overnighting kente cloth like that. But,
how old are these members of the caucus that told them they should do that?
I don't know. I don't know if they understood where I understand where they're going. But you know, if there's going to be any week or that you listen and do what some black folks tell you to do, without question, I guess this is the week. And so this is what you get. It was a weird visual. I woke because I woke up late that day, and I saw a bunch of white Democrats with kente cloth kneeling. I was like,
doing interpretive dance.
I didn't have that on the bingo board.
No, man. Hey, 2020 is a special year.
Look, when they did a Black Lives Matter and a moment of silence at a NASCAR race, I was like, this is something different is happening here.
Something is different is happening. I don't know how a lot of them are going to feel about the whole idea of banning the Confederate flag. You know, there's been talks of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't even. That's one that I'm kind of, me personally, I'm indifferent to. But it's kind of cool to see I mean, I don't like to see them, but how are you going to enforce it? I guess you're going to force a ban on it, I guess.
Well,
do we ban anything else?
I think the Confederate flag is terrible. Where it helps me is as soon as I see it, I was like, okay, those are white people that I want no parts of.
Right.
So it's almost helpful in a way.
It is. It's a target. It paints a target right on them, and it's the dumbest flex, so to speak, because like literally you're riding around, you're repping a side that lost. Like you don't ever see anybody. All the times that the Cubs fucking lost the World Series. Well, I guess that's a bad analogy because people definitely left the Cubs real hardcore, but it's just weird to see that that's somebody that lost a war that long ago and you still trying to rep that shit. That's weird. You don't see people in Germany riding around with swastikas and shit.
Heritage. It's a remembrance of our brothers that died.
You know, it's like, and like what's fantastic to me is like I saw in some city over in the UK where they snatched a statue of somebody who owned a bunch of slaves in the UK and dragged that shit down the street and threw it in the river.
I saw that shit. That was in the UK?
Like, now that's what I'm talking about.
I didn't know that was in the UK. They said that, I read a report that they said that the statue tripped and fell in the river.
Wasn't it people trying to pull it out of the river?
Yeah, you know, there's always going to be those types. You know, that's how much racism and white supremacy means to certain people. Is they was going to risk drowning to try to pull this statue out.
History, man.
Shout out to our UK brothers, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but what's wild is there's still people who are so tone deaf that they're saying shit on Twitter or wherever, and there's a lot of people losing their job. Like white people are losing their jobs left and right.
Yeah,
racism.
And that goes back to my point. Like, I feel like there's such little like, I would say about 5 years ago, there was still so much, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the thing that I wrote about, right? There's so much that, like, the difference between blatant racism and, like, the microaggressions and everything, or microaggressional racism, if that's even a thing, but you know what I mean. So I feel like people are starting to understand that racism is more than just, like, calling people names, finally.
Right.
And so it's just become a lot more prevalent with everything right now that, like, if you come out and say honestly, it can just be some marginal, like, fuck shit, and people will go for your head. Like, you're going to lose your job, and it's crazy. It's crazy, like, all the things that I'm seeing. Taking the gerbs.
There's a private security firm that's based in, I guess, in North Carolina.
It is, Eric.
And they said some off-brand shit about the protesters, and, you know, they lost their contract with the Panthers and the Hornets, like, immediately.
Yep.
There's a teacher.
CrossFit just lost their contract with Reebok.
Yeah, and there are CrossFit places they completely are divesting from the CrossFit name.
Yeah.
And I was like,
this is the type of shit I love to see. Is where you hit them where it hurts, and that's in their goddamn pocket.
Yep. Well, that's really the only thing that can really make people really pay attention.
Yep.
You know, and, like, it is great to see, man. Like, did you see after 31 years, they've no longer the show Cops is done now?
Nah,
officially?
I didn't know.
Yeah, I just saw that.
They what's that, Live PD? They stopped that show for a while, and
Well, Live PD was getting a lot of Indianapolis action on there.
It was in Lawrence on a regular.
Lawrence, yeah, I know. Back in my old area.
Yeah.
But
look, they're you know, and it's crazy because, you know, of course, and we'll get into this a little bit later probably. With Ice-T, you know, there are people who didn't know Ice-T was Ice-T because they've been watching him on Law and Order for so long, and you know, honestly, all cop shows are kind of propaganda for police.
yeah,
because
I agree.
You know, after 9/11 specifically, the hero, because remember the heroes it wasn't the military, it was the first responders, the firemen, and the police. And so it almost became this thing to where it was sacrilegious for us to put them in a bad light. Yeah. And so think about how many television shows are just about the police, the whole Law and Order franchise, Chicago PD, you know, NCIS, all these.
Yeah, it's been like that forever. Hell, back in the day, what was it? Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues. You know, but now there's almost like there's every Blue Bloods, like every station has at least one, if not many, shows about, you know, police officers and, you know, their life and how hard it is. And, like, I think
you've chosen a job, though, sir.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I can't lie. I love SVU. You know, I F with SVU heavy. But, like, I was watching, like, Chicago PD because, you know, I don't have cable, so whatever comes on Ion, sometimes that's what I wind up watching. And I was like, there was one episode where they mentioned Laquan McDonald, which was the young brother that was shot in the back, you know, by Chicago police officers. And, you know, they fought tooth and nail to make sure that footage never came out, and eventually it did. But, you know, I'm like, this is a show that even when the cops are doing stuff that's questionable, is still seen as noble. So I think that's something else to where I think that's a factor in why it took so long for people to wake up, because we've been watching these cop shows, you know, depending on how old you are, for the better part of 25, 30 years, that have put police officers in this noble position that even when they do something wrong, it can somehow be justified. And I think that's been part of the psyche of America.
It is the America
this entire time.
Yep, it is. And it expands over to the military as well. You know, like, it's even more. Like, we've been terrorizing how many countries for how long? and it's just in the name of America, you know, and it's. But now
United
when it's
States of goddamn
America, but now that we're here in you know, with all
like
the
a third world country,
you know, the tyranny going on in America, you know, it's right at home.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
everybody can relate.
Yeah.
But yeah. So from there, let's talk about So before let's just jump into Run the Jewels real quick. I don't know if you guys have. I think you all said you've at least given it one stream through. I've listened to it.
I gave it a quick listen.
And you know, we're talking about, you know, protests and protest songs. The one song that comes to my mind is like the Ooh La La joint from Run the Jewels with why is his name failing me right now? Who's on the hook? Ooh La La, yes.
Greg Nice from Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greg Nice. Yes. So like I think of that song, but they released their album like an entire week early. I don't think it's supposed to drop till this Friday.
No, it was supposed to drop that Friday. They just released it 3 days early, I believe.
Oh, okay. Was that what it was? So
Yeah.
yeah. Do you guys have a favorite cut from the record?
Walking in the
not
Snow.
really. I can't say that I do right now.
Yeah.
Right now, it's Walking in the Snow and Pulling the Pin, the joint with, of all people, Mavis Staples. Like, that one hit pretty hard for me. The crazy thing is, their DJ, their tour DJ, Trackstar the DJ, shout out to him.
I met him once.
Yeah, he's you know, he's got roots in St. Louis, and so I saw him and got to chop it up with him a little bit, and he talked to me about the album. He couldn't give me a whole lot of details because it was very much hush hush, and they were trying to keep some of the features under wraps,
right?
You know, but when you listen to the record, it's almost like they wrote this while they were watching the news these last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that's the thing about Run the Jewels too, though. And I can say that they have continually kind of stayed in that lane from their first album up till now. It's always politically charged. It's almost like a Public Enemy on steroids, so to speak.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Rage Against the Machine, which is why Zach De La Rocha's been a part of a handful of songs too. You know
what's weird? Since you brought up Rage Against the Machine, a lot of these kids that grew up Rage Against the Machine fans are Trump supporters.
Well, they didn't realize that they're political, apparently.
Oh yeah, there was somebody who tried to say like, oh, now everybody's you know, responding to Tom Morello, saying, oh, everybody's an expert in political affairs now. Like, you know, first of all, like, how did you get into Rage Against the Machine and not understand that their whole thing was protest music? Second of all, Tom Morello actually has like a degree in like political science from Harvard University. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's the last person you want to try to challenge on, you know, their knowledge of how this whole thing works. But hey, I mean, everybody's an expert on Twitter.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely so. I do like the Pharrell joint. I thought that was pretty clever. I already mentioned the Ooh La La joint or whatever that's called. I don't even know what it's called.
It's called Ooh La La.
Is it? Yeah. And then I like the outro too. The outro's like a 6-minute joint. They rap for the first 3 minutes, and then there's like a bunch of like just musical stuff at the end.
The Firing Squad joint.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds about right. But to your guys' point about Run the Jewels, like with Mike's always been politically charged for the most part with his raps and everything, and LP's always kind of touched on all the way back to his Def Jux days. I'm not overly familiar with Company Flow because I can't speak on that. But like he's always spoken on essentially like fuck the system type shit, and so this is like right up their alley. And again, I know we've mentioned this before on the show, but they just make such a great combination of characters between the two of them. You know, like
they balance each other out.
Yeah, like LP is extremely sarcastic in everything he does, and you can kind of catch it in his raps too. But when Mike is like on his game, you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody talking about some real shit more than Mike.
I still have to say that, to me, their combined effort together, my favorite is still Killer Mike's rap music, which LP produced. I love.
Yeah. That's a great album. Probably one of my favorite rap albums of all time. And I just remember I slept on it, and then my man Andy, Bad Andy, shout out to him. When I was working downtown, I just happened to run into him, and he had a copy of it. And he couldn't stop talking about it. He's like, "Yo, you can have my copy, and I just need you to hear this record." And I was blown away by that record. I still run that from time to time just to kind of reset.
I need an updated version of Reagan for our current fella.
Straight up, yeah. That album is powerful.
Yeah,
I saw him perform that live at the Vogue. I was like,
I did too.
What we doing?
Straight up. Yeah, he's a very good artist to see live. If you get a chance to see Killer Mike,
well, they're still planning to go on tour if they can. LP was doing a whole bunch of answering Twitter questions this morning, and I caught a handful of them. But he says as long as they allow them, they're going on tour again. They're definitely on my short list of acts that I mean, you guys know me. I've mentioned it before. Like, I kind of grew out of my live concert stage. I feel like, being a performer, I've been at a million of them, and I don't know, like, I get my anxiety. I show up and I'm ready to go. So, but, but there's a handful of acts I would love to see, like Little Brother. Still would like to see them. Outkast would be dope, but Run the Jewels is like right up top there as well. Like, and I think it'd probably have a good chance of catching them at some point in time. So.
Yeah, I hope they come here. If it does open up like that, I hope Indianapolis lands a show, because we miss out on a lot of these good shows based on ticket sales, because people always wait till the last minute, myself included. But hopefully they come through here.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, that would be a good look if they did. But like I said, that's the unfortunate thing about Indianapolis is, it's like there's almost like a triangle. It's like, all right, they'll go from St. Louis to Chicago and then go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Man, they go to freaking Columbus sometime. That's the one that drives me crazy. How do you go to Columbus, Ohio and Cincinnati and not come to freaking Indianapolis?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, depending on how big the show is, there's a proximity clause in a lot of contracts. So you can't come to certain places if it's within a certain amount of like Cincinnati's pretty close to Indy. Like even from where you're at, Terry, you can probably get there in about an hour, maybe hour and change.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half.
I do it about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes.
Really, but when I used to
like a jazz fest out there, didn't you?
Yeah, we usually hit that up every year. You definitely don't miss it this year.
But I used to drive through there when I used to go down south all the time. And from my house on the northeast side, well, in Lawrence, I could get to Cincy in about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, granted, I drove a little fast, but still, I guess my point is,
you and that GTO.
Yeah. But I guess to my point, like, it's still pretty close, to Indy, like an hour and a half.
What is Columbus? 3 hours?
It might be 2, 3, 2.5, somewhere up there. Because you have to go up through to Fort Wayne.
In Ohio, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Even Cleveland.
Then
Indianapolis is a much better place than Cleveland.
I think part of it might. I can't really argue with that. But shouts to the Cleveland people.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to our Major 7.
Yeah, but damn, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think a lot of it probably just comes on the people booking the shows, to be honest. In the city. But let's transition over and talk about Rat Boy just a little bit. So Rat Boy had put out a song.
We should probably get into our sponsors real quick.
Who's that? You think so?
Yeah, let's get into the sponsors real quick. Let them know exactly.
All right.
We get carried away and almost, we want to make sure the sponsors get their shine.
Yeah, we're not quite halfway through, but we can do that. So yeah, shouts to the sponsors. Of course, Sun King, our newest sponsor, based out of Indianapolis.
I'm fresh out, y'all. I'm fresh out.
Gotta get some more, but yeah, Sun King Brewery. So make sure you check them out. Indie CD and Vinyl. They provide us with wax for our raffles. So if you're a member of our Patreon, which a handful of you guys in the comments are, or at least one of you, you get join into to our monthly raffles. We're actually raffling off 4 different records next week. Just because of all the COVID stuff, Indie City and Vinyl's been held, not been open all the time. So they're getting back to it, and so are we. So we'll be raffling off 4 different records next Tuesday on our pre-show. Also, No Bad Ideas. We're also going to be raffling off No Bad Ideas gear. So I don't have any No Bad Ideas gear on right now, but check them out. No Bad Ideas.
Infinity, though. I got on a Infinity
Kung Fu Kenny
joint.
Kung Fu
man,
Kenny.
that's fresh. I might need to get one of those.
Yeah,
you got that in the black?
Nah, just white and gray.
White and gray? Okay. I need to if you got a 3X, I might need to holler at you.
But yeah, definitely Printfinity, but also No Bad Ideas if you want to check them out, because they have a bunch of dope headwear and all sorts of things. If you use code all caps New Old Heads, you get 20% off of your purchase on their website. I talked to Greg from No Bad Ideas today, and he said that people have been using the code, so that's great. Use that, get your percentages. Printfinity, obviously, Jay Diff's company. If you need any screen printing needs, he's got you. So check out Printfinity.
Printfinity, t-shirts, whatever you need, man.
Yeah, printfinity.com, no vowels. It's not printfinity.com, no vowels, but you get what it meant. And who am I missing? I feel like Dr. Coleman. Shouts to Dr. Coleman Dental in Broad Ripple, right north of or right south of the Vogue. If you need to get your teeth fixed, as Mike used to say.
And they back in effect too, because I got a text message telling me to come in for my appointment.
Yep. And I need to reschedule mine, because I think I had one in April. So check them out. And also, obviously, bringingdowntheband.com is, as Maja 7th calls it, the hub where you can find everything. So I think those are the sponsors. Those are our partners, as I like to call them. And, so anyways, let's get into
Rat Boy.
We don't have to talk about this too much, because, it's like I'm not really a huge fan of the Rat, but... the Rat Boy, but the interesting thing that's worth talking about maybe a little bit is 𝐀𝐁 did a remix with them, and I'm just curious what you guys think about people coming out and 𝐀𝐁, 1, doing a song with them, and 2, do you think this is going to be a trend? Do you think more people are going to come out and start doing songs with them that are of noteworthy value, such as like
I don't
𝐀𝐁?
think so, man. I think 𝐀𝐁 is actually, I can't really speak on what he's trying to do. I don't know what the hell he's on. He must have seen the end, because he had that Locked Up song and decided to make a remix with Rat Boy on it.
Yeah.
Tekashi Snitch 9, whatever other, AKA BKA he's known as these days. But
right.
I thought it was whack, man. And I think Styles P said something about it too, because he was on the original.
He did. Styles definitely, he posted a handful of comments on Twitter about it. I know because I'm pretty sure that I don't know how close they are, Styles and 𝐀𝐁, but I thought that they were somewhat close.
No. I mean, but obviously he's not locked up, though. He's the wrong person to get on a Locked Up song.
Yeah, I thought the irony of that was hard to miss.
Snitch is way out.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about that other than if you thought that maybe wondered if you thought more people would work with Tekashi. But yeah.
I think that, I don't know, I think, 𝐀𝐁's made his money off of this music game. I don't know what his motivation would be, I don't know, to stay relevant, to have people talking about him again.
Right.
Maybe he didn't follow the trial, but I just think this is a bad look for him. Not that I'm really checking for 𝐀𝐁. I've never been much of a fan. I remember the first time I heard Locked Up on the radio. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But you know, I didn't. In fact, that's one of the first people I met when I moved here to Indianapolis. Like, for whatever reason, 𝐀𝐿 was hanging out downtown at like the Have a Nice Day Cafe. But I don't see any new, like, relevant artists now, especially quote unquote street artists.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I don't even see the people who worked with him before. Like, I don't see Nicki Minaj or Casanova. I don't know if Casanova ever did anything, but A Boogie with the Hoodie, or
Right.
I don't see any of these new rappers who would want to get next to him because, you know, they don't want the stench of that snitch jacket on them. So, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who just don't care. They're just here for the spectacle and watch the car accident.
Yeah, that's true.
And you'd be surprised. That's why we don't have a lot of moment music for this politically charged era that we're living in now, because these motherfuckers ain't got a clue.
Did you guys see that apparently YG was recording a music video or taking camera footage at the protest in, I'm guessing, LA? Did you guys see that at all?
I did
Nah,
see
I didn't
that.
see that.
And he was catching some flack for. He was catching some flack for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, because the thing is, you know, with all, like, I think there's a lot of people who are in Black Lives Matter, and it's not really Black Lives Matter, it's Black Lives Marketing. You know, they just don't,
Right.
they see this as an opportunity, and I'm not here for that. And that means that's the same for other black people. Like, if you're taking footage of protests so you can make a song or incorporate into a video to profit you, like, I don't want anybody profiting off a protest. I think that's whack.
Well, he responded to the critics. He said, "I don't question your advocacy and don't think you should question mine." He actually followed that up with, he said, where are we at? I'm checking out this. It's actually an article on Complex. He said, "You got to understand that a lot of people out here see me as an N-word. They don't see the black proud man. They see a kid from Bompton, and they expect violence. They hear FTP, and they think I'm going to come and burn my city. So we showed up and did it right. We proved them wrong." So, I don't know. I was just curious about that.
The thing about it is, we live in, the society we live in now is very microwavable.
Yeah.
And actually, Ice-T have mentioned this earlier. He said that he came up with OGs, and these youngsters are coming up with IGs.
Wow.
As in Instagrams. You know what I'm saying? So they would much rather be seen doing shit than actually making a movement, because the movement speaks in itself. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to show shit when you make shit move. But unfortunately, this social media has it to where everybody wants to show you this, show you that, versus just being about it. And I can G for that as a whole, but I can't speak on what YG's intentions were. I'm not saying he's just somebody out here trying to be seen or whatnot, but there are a lot of people who are out here just trying to be seen.
Yeah. That kind of is a good transition into, unless you wanted to add anything, Jay, but that's kind of a good transition
I think
into
the next one.
Well, into the narrative where we've seen people come out and question J. Cole and Kendrick, right? And, you know, those are two artists that were kind of bigger named artists, and a lot of people consider them quote unquote conscious artists, right? And so I saw pictures of J. Cole protesting early on, but I've seen a handful of people kind of throw their arms up like, "Where's Kendrick at?" and all this other stuff. So, I don't know. What do you, so with what you just said, Terry, I'm going to come to you first. With what you just said, do you feel like Kendrick needs to come out and what do you feel? Do you feel like he needs to say anything at this point in time? Do you think it helps?
I feel like with this movement, with what's going on, there has to be somebody on each base. You know what I'm saying? So you're seeing the visual base, the one the IGs are looking for you to take pictures and show proof. I mean, he's pretty much giving you a soundtrack to ride to. Right. And you don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. Mind you, he was at the protest over the weekend in LA.
Yeah. Was that the one where I saw the massive crowd? Was that an accurate picture?
I'm not sure. I know he was there. Russell Westbrook was there. DeMar DeRozan was there. I don't know if that was all the same one, but I know they all were there.
I can throw it up on the screen here in a minute. But
I don't think these artists necessarily owe their image to be seen, because you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, so to speak. Just like with Kanye. Right. Kanye evidently donated a bunch of money. They said he was out in the Chicago protests as well. I didn't see any pictures, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
I don't know. It's just people that have the most to say generally are ones that aren't out there doing it as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. What do you think, Jay?
Well, this is the thing, and I understand where people want to see famous people get involved because it lends a certain credibility or visibility to what's happening in the streets. But honestly, I don't care what celebrities have to think based on them being celebrities. It just goes back to that Dave Chappelle joke. Like, who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? I'm scared. You know,
where's Ja?
It goes back to I'm glad to see people getting involved and lending their voices to what's happening, but I'm less concerned about who they are as celebrities. Is like, once again, and then there's also the person to me that's just a little bit cynical. Who's like, are you out there because you don't want people to at you? Or are you out there because you really want to be involved in, like for anything I've said about Drake in the past and his music, he dropped that $100,000 or whatever, like it was nothing. And to him, it probably is nothing compared to like the average person. But then like the Weeknd is like, oh, we doing that? Okay, well here's 200,000. Okay, that's where I'm impressed when you put your money behind these movements, because it really, during the civil rights era, there are a lot of black celebrities who could have just kept their heads down and say, I'm just here to entertain and tap dance for these white folks. But they were the ones who were really, it was the Harry Belafontes of the time that were, and he still put in work in 2020. So shout out to Harry Belafonte. Made it to where Dr. King could do what he did. So like we have a new crop of leaders. Maybe we don't know their names like that, but there are people who are putting their money up and saying,
as well.
Yeah, who are saying, because a lot of these people could be like, well, I don't know about my white fan base. Like somebody like Lil Wayne, who, I don't know why we listen to Lil Wayne.
Man,
Lil Wayne, at this point, I don't know why we listen to Lil Wayne's music.
He's got to be one of the dumbest individuals out here that just whenever he has something to say that could mean to some or make somebody move a certain way, he just says the dumbest shit, man. And I don't know what it is about him. At one point in time, he had people rallying behind him so that he didn't get locked up for some fuck shit, because he got stuck in the system. That's how he kept getting locked up. Or for him to be so tone deaf on all this shit speaks volumes on his character, man. And I can't really
he said it's on us not to, not to think, how all cops are this a certain way. And I was like, man, do you have any concept? Like, because he said, well, a white cop helped me when I was younger, and I can understand that because like every interaction I've had with the cops hasn't been negative, but at the same time, when we're talking about a system that enables bad cops, and you're here telling like, well, maybe we should. The onus is not on black people to end racism. We can fight it,
absolutely.
But really, if we're going to end racism, we gotta put that's on white people.
Yep.
And for them to understand, and for them to start listening. Like we've listened enough. We can tell you all about racism and go back and forth, but there's no point in going back and forth with each other about racism. I don't want to talk to other black people about racism. It's sort of like when they send these politicians to black churches to talk about the ills of racism. You want to impress me? Go to the white church and tell them about racism. Don't come to black churches and tell us about racism and how you're down for this, that, and the third. Like, that means nothing because the onus is not on us to fix the problem.
Yeah, it's not. I've also seen to that point. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook that post disparaging messages and comments, pretty much telling us to prove them wrong. Like how do you prove them wrong when it's shit that you should learn on your own? I don't feel like proving you wrong or proving myself right.
But that's again,
I'm exhausted from that.
That's the thing about racism, right? And privilege. So, like, you know, the people that need to dismantle it are white people, but at the same time, white people have the privilege to ignore it because it's like inherently built into it. So if we don't want to address it, we don't have to. That's just what it is.
The crazy thing is, like, when Drew Brees gets called out, he's able to, like, see, oh, you know what? I didn't read the room and I was wrong here.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we talk about Lil Wayne, he just doubles down on the bullshit.
Yeah.
And so, like, and both of them represent New Orleans to a certain extent. And sadly, like, you know, it's the guy who's, you know, taking pictures with Donald Trump over his last few years.
This ain't the first time.
That's the guy who's has a more progressive mind state.
Yeah, I think they asked him about Black Lives Matter when the whole Trayvon Martin thing went down, and he had some shit to say the exact same way. Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that is. I think everybody's lives should matter. So it's almost like he's being ignorant on purpose.
Well, he actually said out loud, well, you know, racism can't be that bad. I have white fans. And so I think there's a weird disconnect.
I'm rich.
There's a weird disconnect with Lil Wayne because he has been famous and rich basically the majority of his life. But still, I'm like, you saw what happened during Hurricane Katrina.
This is the question I have for you, Jay, specifically, based on that right there, and obviously both you guys. But, you know, like, I've noticed it as well with people such as, like, Candace Owens, you know, and a handful of people such as Lil Wayne in the past, sometimes Kanye West.
Dr. Ben Carson.
Ben Carson, you know, a lot of conservatives a lot of times. But it seems like they don't either they don't. Some black people don't necessarily understand the nuances of racism, which don't seem to make any sense to me. How that could even be a thing? Do you think is this a disconnect thing, or is this more of a philosophical way of addressing racism? Do you think? Does that make sense?
No, I think this is the thing. I think when you're talking about Ben Carson and Candace Owens at this point, I just, you know, and this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but like some of the most dangerous white supremacists have always been black people.
Mm-hmm.
And Candace Owens fits into that category. You know, now I'm, you know, because I've tried to listen and see maybe where she's coming from. But what she said about George Floyd just lets me know that there is, I don't know if it's, you know, because I've always thought, well, maybe she just needs a hug. But there's a level of evil in her heart at this point.
Yeah.
When you say
she
that.
don't like black people, man.
Yeah. When you say that somebody who was killed by the police in high definition was a bad person.
Well, she spent her rant talking about that. I made a response video to that I, just for myself, I was going to share it with some people that I had a back and forth with some people on that video. And instead of like addressing everything, I was going to do a response video to that. And I watched her video a handful of times, and she just ranted for like 4 or 5 minutes just on how horrible of a person George Floyd was, called him a career criminal. But the thing is that none of that had anything to do with the fact that he was killed with a knee on his neck. It's just like
anybody that doesn't realize that regardless of his past or whatever he did, the whole just image of him being murdered like that, all in itself is what everybody is standing up for in general.
Right.
You know, and it has nothing to do with his character. You can't judge that man by his character that just got killed over and what was it, a $20 counterfeit bill that's
supposedly
never been,
supposedly that's allegedly what happened.
Yeah, it's never been verified that that's even what it was. But it's the idealization of him being murdered like that is what everybody is behind. You trying to just put it on George Floyd and run his rap sheet is exactly like everybody else in the media does. That whenever somebody dies that's black, you put up a mugshot versus this kid that shot up a school and you put up his senior picture. You know what I'm saying? So for you to take that side and for all the people that are championing her, it's just like, I mean, she's just a house Negro, essentially.
And I think a lot of white people look to Candace Owens to basically co-sign their racism. And then they think, well, Candace Owens said it, I can't be racist. Here's this black woman.
Man, I tried to explain that to somebody, and I did a video response to a whole bunch of people because I didn't feel like typing everything out. And I said, Candace, there's this thing that white people do where if they don't agree with something, like white people in general, we understand what blatant racism is. You know, it's like calling people disrespectful names and stuff like that. But a lot of the people that are racist and struggle with racism and say, oh, that's not racist, racist doesn't exist, those people, they know that something's not quite right with what they don't believe in, but they just wait for somebody safe to say something and they just tag along to it. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. That's what Candace Owens is like the spokesperson. She's the spokesperson for that, and maybe she is. I don't know. But
and she said, what did she say, that police violence against blacks is a myth?
Yeah.
How?
She based it all on violent crime data, as opposed. She said that police brutality against black people do not exist, and she did all the statistics based on violent crime data as opposed to just data. So like the thing is like police brutality is not, and a police officer does not have to be around violent crime to be a part of police brutality. You know what I mean? Like they're not mutually exclusive ideas. And so she coupled him to that. I don't know why she thinks that is a good talking point. Maybe it just fits her narrative. I don't know, honestly. But yeah, I actually dug into that a little bit over the weekend.
Well, no, and it goes, you know, because people say, well, I can't be racist because I'm a fan of Candace Owens or Dr. Ben Carson, who I think honestly has lost his mind at this point. Like, I'm like, how did this dude ever separate conjoined twins?
Yeah,
I just think, once again, you know, you have to point out to white people who think they're not being racist that just because the white supremacist is black, that doesn't mean that you're not racist. And that's how that I put Candace Owens into that category now. You know, there are a lot of black people out here.
Your narrative.
There are a lot of black people. There are some black people out here who, and this is an older saying, who think that white folks' ice is colder. And when they are called one of the good ones, they think that's an actual compliment.
It's
and it's
Uncle
not.
Ruckus syndrome.
Yeah. And so, you know, there are people out here who will say anything bad about anybody black if they feel like there's a white audience who will listen to it. And that's sad, but you know, there's a market for that. Like with the two Diamond and Silk or whatever, like people.
And they left their asses. They actually said something they wasn't supposed to say and got fired.
Exactly, but they were on Fox News for about 3 years straight.
Yep,
for no reason at all, other than they would talk good about, you know, about Donald Trump, and they would talk down on black people whenever they've had a microphone in their faces. And now Bebop and Rocksteady are out of work because they didn't, you know, because that's the thing is, like, white people, like, even though they'll have sellouts around, and I know this is some wild shit to talk about, but whatever, they don't trust white people don't trust sellouts either, because it's like, if you'll do this to the people who look like you and live in your community, I don't know when you're gonna turn on me.
You don't get fired. Stacey Dash got fired.
Exactly. It's like that. What it
Rocksteady, like you said, got fired.
I mean,
Candace gonna say something gonna get her ass fired too.
Look, just like Cube said, and you not only use this kind of language on the show, but Ice Cube said on True to the Game, they'll find a new nigga next year, and that's what Fox News is going to do to you. Like, as soon as you are no more used to them, or you say something that's just a little bit out of line, they'll be like, all right, we don't need you, and now you can't come back to us. Bebop and Rocksteady can't show up at the Image Awards and think they're going to get love because you talk down on us so long. So now there's nowhere for you to go. There's no country for sellouts.
They gonna be in a fucking Bob Evans signing autographs and shit.
Hey man, Bob Evans, just don't eat the eggs.
I used to mess with their Western Scramble.
Man, I've eaten Bob Evans breakfast probably 4 times, and 2 times in a row I got their eggs, and I got sick both times, so I don't eat the eggs.
It's hard to find a Bob Evans now, though.
Yeah. Is there still one on the west side off of Shadeland over there by 70?
Yeah, it's like off of 86th Street or 71st. I can't remember.
There's one on Shadeland, and there's
one I'm talking about.
Yeah, there used to be one off 38th Street, but they turned it into like a faux restaurant. You go in there and get some good pho.
Down on the farm, man. I still buy me some Bob Evans sausage every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't front on that.
I fucks with Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Get your country fried steak.
Country fried steaks. Yep.
Nah, I fuck with the catfish, or is it the country boy breakfast?
I haven't been there. It's been a while since I've been there, but
no, that's where they gonna be on their tour signing autographs since they got fired from Fox. Cracker Barrels and fucking Bob Evans.
That's what's left for them is like, all right, we got Bebop and Rocksteady and Stacey Dash at the Cracker Barrel.
With cardboard cutouts.
The goddamn chitlin circuit of 2020.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it is getting to a point though, like I kind of touched on a little bit, like the pandering stuff, like at least I notice it from people that I'm around, at least on social media and different people. Like the stuff gets called out so quick anymore. It's like it's so quick. So hopefully things are moving into a better direction. But
I got a funny tweet that I actually meant to mention earlier. So when we were talking about artists being out marching and protesting and whatnot. So
yeah,
somebody tweeted at Wale, J. Cole was out in Fayetteville. If that's not the dopest, I don't know what is. At Wale, make us proud, #DMV. And Wale's response was, I'm sick of a lot of you acting like y'all Messiah was the only one outside. Suck my dick.
Damn.
I thought that shit was hilarious.
Wale's got time.
He does.
Right now. That's funny. Oh, yeah, man.
But as you were, I'm sorry.
No, that's about, I don't necessarily have anything else on the agenda necessarily to talk about. Sir covered an Isley Brothers song. I don't know if you guys heard that. Did you guys hear that joint?
No, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, he covered the Footsteps in the Dark. That was actually kind of decent. And I
did catch him on the episode of Insecure. I finally caught up on that.
I'm so behind, man. I think I'm like a season behind on Insecure.
I just caught up because I got the hookup on HBO Max.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how I caught up.
Yeah.
Shout out to the hookup.
Yeah, so you know what else I watched I've been watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
Because whenever they show it on like TBS or BET or whatever, like the syndication episodes are always a little bit different because they have to cut they have to make more time for commercials, so there's something they cut out of each episode.
Yeah.
And so like these are all the episodes as they aired. And I'm thinking like I still enjoy the show, but I was like, man, Will Smith's game was actually kind of whack. Like the way he talked to women, like he shouldn't have, if he wasn't the star of the show, he wouldn't have gotten any play.
Yeah, he was a little corny. Definitely. If you were taking game tips from Fresh Prince, you probably wasn't getting nothing back in the day.
Yeah, if you actually acted like the Fresh Prince acted in real life, like they'd be like, get your ass out of here.
Straight up.
Yeah, I watched that.
He said, come and take a ride with a hell of a guy.
You in a damn near stolen Porsche.
Right.
But yeah, on the show, like I'd be like, did he really just say that to that girl and she fell for that shit?
Hey. It's because it's Will Smith.
Yeah, but he had access to Nia Long and Vivica Fox. And he was kicking it with Tyra Banks. And like the thing is, this is the wild thing. This just show you how there's only so many black people in Hollywood. Is like Nia Long played two different characters on the same show.
Ain't that a bitch?
Like Queen Latifah, I think it was even in the same season where she was two different characters. I was like, they don't have any more black actresses in this.
Damn. He was with. Did you say Tisha Campbell?
Tisha Campbell was in there. That's right.
Yeah, because I know she was the one that was his girl when the power and shit went out and they was locked in the basement or something.
Oh, this is for my old players. And when I say my old players, I mean people my age. There was an episode where he was with Tyler Collins, and Tyler Collins was like that back in the day. You had to, go ahead and look up Tyler Collins.
Refresh my brain.
Yeah, she had a song called "Girls Night Out," and she looked like she was about to be the one for a second. She was extra fine. Oh, he had
Alone?
Jasmine Guy. He had Jasmine Guy for an episode.
Jasmine Guy. Oh yeah, I remember Tyler Collins. Yep. You are correct, buddy. Sir. You are correct. She looked like a what's her name? Damn. I can't think of.
I'm gonna pull it up here.
Yeah, School the Youngins on Tyler Collins.
Yeah, I remember it now.
No, that ain't her. Oh, yeah. There we go. Get us into some trouble.
Never Alone. Hold on, let's see what else we got here. Jasmine Guy.
Oh, yeah, Jasmine Guy. She did
I Just Want to Hold You.
Full Force produced this. I think, yeah.
It's crazy, like how shitty the quality of these videos are.
Well, the thing is, these weren't hits. These are just songs I remember. So, like, nobody's really trying to curate and make sure that these songs and videos are preserved like they should.
Man, what happened to Tyler Collins, man? I want to know now.
I don't know.
You know,
what happened to Tyler Collins?
I'm not familiar, man. I'm not overly familiar with Tyler Collins, so I've got nothing. So, well, we are running up to here the end here, and I know Jay, you gotta walk upstairs here to.
Actually, we're recording at DJ Indiana Jones's crib again tonight.
Okay.
We wanted to bring it in special because tomorrow, or well, yesterday, if you're listening to this and not on live with us, is his 50th birthday. So
yeah.
So we decided we'd go ahead and bring it in with him. And but once again, if you're with us live, www.twitch.tv/Decademics, and that's where Take That Tuesday is doing his thing right now. So get involved.
Yep. All right. That'll be it for the episode 189 of the New Old Heads podcast. She's 53. She got. He said she's got a vintage vagina.
First of all, who are you talking about? Tyler Collins or Jasmine Guy?
Shouts to Waffle House Pimp.
He said Tyler Collins got a vintage vagina.
I don't know what Tyler Collins looked like now, because remember, you couldn't have told me nobody was finer than Jasmine Guy at one point, but
yeah, she ain't aged very well.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I hate to talk bad about Whitley Gilbert, but damn. Like, that's what happens when, like, you know, you don't gain that womanly weight and it don't keep your face filled out.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
So, let's stop now before I say something really wrong.
Yeah. All right. So this is episode 189 of the New Old Heads podcast. We'll be back here on twitch.tv/bringing down the band next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for the live show. And of course, the show to everybody that doesn't catch it live, you can watch it on bringingdowntheband.com at noon every Thursday. So until next time, we shall holler at y'all.
All right. Be cool.
Peace. Holler. Be careful.